Welcome, Jibber Jabbers, to the Jibber Jabber podcast deep dive, episode 1, where you guys voted for Schindler's List. It was a choice between Schindler's List and Gone with the Wind, and you guys unanimously voted. Well, I wouldn't say it was unanimous because that means that no one else voted for the other one, huh?
That's exactly
It
what
was
it
actually right. So it was 26 votes to 8 votes for Schindler's List.
It's a landslide.
And a landslide, not unanimous. Yeah, silly belly. So today we're deep diving, which means it's going to be a shorter episode than usual. It's a bit different. Today we really are only going to be talking about Schindler's List, the movie, and its effect it's had on the cinematic universe. I'm joined, as always, by J Mac, the last of all known Explorians. Say hello, J Mac.
Hello.
So when Christmas came along, Jordan gifted me with a journal, and this journal happens to be the best thing to ever happen to this podcast, because now we can watch movies and write down in this journal everything about the movies. It's got everything from date release, genre, 5-star rating system and all that, and we're going to use that today and furthermore when we're talking about movies on the Jibber Jabber podcast. So, getting into it, we're going to go ahead and deep dive Jibber Jabber very lightly as we're deep dive Jibber Jabber. We're going to deep dive. Where were you on that one, Jordan? You're supposed to be keeping me right here.
I don't like correcting people anymore. I keep getting called out for it.
Too PC. Yeah, so we're going to deep dive into Schindler's List, and hopefully you guys voted for it, so hopefully we deliver for you guys and what you wanted to hear about this. So, in 1993, on the 18th of February, Schindler's List opened worldwide. Steven Spielberg's big screen rendition of Thomas Keneally's Schindler's Ark, later renamed Schindler's List for the American market. Schindler's List was widely praised for its brutal honesty of historical events that changed the world. It really would change the world entirely. 7 Oscars, Schindler's List secured its place among some of the most iconic movies in cinematic history. So with that said, Jordan, how was your experience watching Schindler's List?
It's a funny one because it's obviously a really, really good film, but it's not enjoyable. Do you know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
You can sit and everything about it is just really well put together. I'm assuming we'll get into this a wee bit kind of further in, but on the whole, I love the film and I hate it at the same time, and I think that's the effect it's supposed to have on you.
Absolutely. I mean, it was biographical to the sense that Steven Spielberg in an interview explained that he went to the survivors, Schindler, the people that were on Schindler's List, and he spoke to them, and he sat for days and days speaking to them. Even went to locations that the survivors had taken Steven Spielberg and told their story, and they said to him, "We want our story out there, and you're going to be the person to open the curtain on really what happened in Schindler's List." And so, really, what stood out for you, Jordan, in Schindler's List?
With regards to what? I mean, it just in general, or?
Yeah, absolutely. What was it that really stood out to you about the Holocaust?
About the Holocaust? It was shit.
Uh-huh.
I'm glad I wasn't there to see it. If it was anything like that, which, going by reputation, I think it was very accurate in its portrayal of it. So, no, I think it's. I think we're almost at the point now where it's going to be a forgotten war quite soon. There's not going to be anybody left that was alive during that war. It's not going to be long until there is nobody left to tell their stories. So I think a film like this really has an important place in telling that story. I think it should be used more in schools, but with a snowflake generation, it's just never going to fucking happen. it's you know exactly what I'm saying there. Nobody can contemplate that anybody could be that bad to another person, or an entire race of people. Not in 2019 when everybody needs a safe space. Try having a safe space when you're a Jew in 1943.
Yeah.
It's just it's a horror film, man. It is an absolute horror film, and that's the only way I can describe it.
It is. And you know, one thing that I was thinking when I was watching Schindler's List was in 2019, you know, when, you know, the Nazis kind of came about, and it was the idea that these people were a hate group for a certain type of people, right? And one person hating somebody is horrible, but when you take a full nation or a full country, a full on group, and they force hate, or they feel hatred towards something else, I think that could be very, very dangerous. Do you think that in 2019 everybody should rewatch Schindler's List, especially in 2019?
Absolutely, everybody needs a reality check to show you how bad things could actually be. People get branded Nazis now for, don't get me wrong, for doing quite unsavoury things or saying quite unsavoury things. But if you watch that film, that is what a Nazi is. So the next time you think about calling somebody a Nazi, maybe rethink it, because you have no idea. No idea.
That's one thing. Like Ralph Fiennes in Schindler's List.
Rafe.
For me.
Rafe.
Ray?
Rafe.
Ray?
Rafe. It sounds like R-A-F-E. Rafe.
Uh-huh.
That's how you say
Really?
it. Yep.
That's mad. Rafe.
Rafe, yes.
Oh, well.
And his second name is not pronounced Fiennes either.
Well, every day's a school day then, huh?
His second name's actually pronounced Schwartz.
Rafe Schwartz. From now on, I'm calling him Rafe Schwartz.
But I wasn't lying about his first name, though. His first name is pronounced Rafe.
Schwartz. Well, Rafe Schwartz. You know, when you're told about Nazism back in the day, at school days for us, when we're told about Nazis, you imagine that what Rafe Schwartz portrayed in Schindler's List is exactly what I believed a Nazi to be like. But it was horrific seeing it on screen, and I just think Rafe Schwartz really did deserve all the accolades he got after that movie, because he's a really good bad guy, don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, if you thought Voldemort was badass, wait till you see him in Schindler's List.
Exactly. And I've said for a wee while now that what cinema's missing right now is a really good bad guy, and Rafe Schwartz definitely always hits it. You know, he always hits a goal with being a good bad guy.
Yeah, the thing is, like, he can play a bad guy that you hate from the inside of his soul, to playing a bad guy that you actually quite like. Because I'm going to bring up a different film here, In Bruges.
I was going to bring that up.
Were you?
I literally was thinking to myself, do I bring that up because this is Schindler's List?
I know,
right? Do I bring it up? But no, that is exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, in that film, he is an absolute nasty bastard, but you still like him, just because he sounds kind of funny, you know. He talks like this. Are you calling me a fucking? You calling my kids cunts?
You don't kill a fucking kid. I've never been to Bruges. It's a fucking shithole.
Is it Australian now?
No, that was Mad Eye Moody. My favourite part in that movie is when you're like just looking at the street and Mad Eye Moody's fucking corpse bounces off the pavement.
Okay, we're already doing what we said we weren't going to do, which was digress. But the point I was trying to make about In Bruges was just how good Ray Fiennes can be as a likeable bad guy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I seen him play a good guy. That's how good he is at playing a bad guy.
Yeah, I think it's his face. It's because he has a face like a snake. Do you not think? Like, if you take away his hair, like you do with Voldemort, he's a snake.
I'm sure he would appreciate that.
Well, here's us laughing, talking about Schindler's List. I never thought that would happen, right?
I know.
So to dial it back down to the real nature of the movie, and one thing I wanted to say about the nature of the movie is, here's just a little sub question for you, John. Do you know why the movie was shot in black and white?
If I was going to hazard a guess, I would say that, I don't know, probably because that's how things would have been filmed back then, to give it a bit more realism, or their printer just ran out of colour.
Well, actually, do you know it was actually Steven Spielberg fought for it to be in black and white because the studio disagreed and didn't want it in black and white. The reason that Steven Spielberg wanted the movie to be in black and white was really because everything we've ever seen documentary-wise of the Holocaust has always been in black and white. Mm-hmm. So to keep to the context of the Holocaust, he wanted the movie in black and white.
Yes.
Which is going to bring me to the next thing I wanted to bring up, right? Which for me is one of the most standout scenes in that movie. It's eerie. It's not only is it eerie, but it represents something much bigger, which really, when I thought about it after the movie, is correct. There's a scene where Schindler is on his horse with his wife up on the hill, and he sees obviously the Jewish people being taken through the streets, some of them being shot in the face. It's all going on obviously down in the town that he's above right now on a hill, so he's got a clear view of it, and the little girl in the red jacket is skipping along with all these, Jewish people, prisoners being taken, and what he sees is the Nazis or no one else. No one's paying attention to her. She's there. She's the only thing in that movie that's in colour, right? She's the only thing, and she's walking through the streets, and no one notices her. No one pays any attention to her. In a time where you would think, it'd be get back in line, or, she just is walking freely. Now, for me, what I took from that, which really, really hit me when I was watching the movie, it really hit me, was Schindler encompasses the world, right? It's a metaphor. The world knew what was going on. As bright as that little girl was walking through all that chaos, Schindler saw it and he turned a blind eye. It was going on, and that little girl was a representation of the Holocaust, and the world was going on around her and knew that was going on, and they didn't step in when they could have.
That's a really interesting point. I wasn't quite sure where you were going with it at first, but just your last sentence there, really, I can totally see what you mean.
For me, that was the scene that stands out. The music's very eerie. It's very eerie. It doesn't help. Later on in the movie, she's pan-breed in a wheelbarrow.
We're not laughing at Schindler's List.
It's the scenario. But did you see? He's like, oh, there's that wee lassie. She's pan-breed. She's in a wheelbarrow.
Mate, I'll be honest with you. I got a fucking Sinead O'Connor at that bit.
Yeah.
I just got one single tear just strolled down my face.
It was tough. At the part where the wee girl walking through the streets, or the part where she's pan-breed?
The part where she looks like a toasty.
Not laughing at the Holocaust.
Nope.
It's just it's the descriptive tones we're using. Yeah. She looks like a toasty.
Stop it! Stop making jokes.
You said she looked like a toasty. So,
a kosher toasty.
Yeah, well, that was going to bring me to the next point, of which I was going to speak to you about. I found the movie very emotional. Even at the last part, really got me was where Liam Neeson's like, had I sold my Nazi badge, had I sold my car, I could have had 5 more, I could have 3 more, and it really hits him right at the end that he could have done more, and that relates back to that scene with that little girl. He saw it going on, and at that point, he represented the world just turning a blind eye. They knew it.
Yeah.
They just didn't. They didn't get involved, and I think it really hit him towards the end when he'd seen how many people he'd saved and the effect that. And that's another quote in the movie where they talk about saving one life could be saving so many more. And I think it really hit him at that point, and for me that was really powerful. And I thought it was amazing.
Definitely.
And that for me was one of the most emotional parts. And what did you find really emotional about the movie?
I mean, there was so honestly, there's so many points like just the journey that he goes through as a person is like it's really poignant. He starts off doing it basically because he knows he can make money off it, and then he actually develops a conscience. I mean, it's like you just said. He said he could have sold his Nazi badge and got some money. You forget at the start of the film, he's a Nazi. He's in the Nazi party. Now, again, it's something that people could look at nowadays and go, "Oh, you're making a Nazi look like a hero. That's disgraceful." It's like, you know what? Fuck yourself. It's a historical film. It's based on a real person's journey towards essentially not salvation, but basically a kind of what's the word I'm looking for? A conscious awakening, like actually realizing that what's going on is fucking awful. And even you can tell there's bits where he's with I'm not even going to try and pronounce the character's name because it's impossible, but Ray Fiennes' character's name.
Amon Goeth?
What?
Or is it Amon? It's like Amon Goeth.
I don't know. I'm going to go with Nazi Schwartz. That's what we're going to call him.
Nazi Schwartz.
Nazi Schwartz. Whenever he's having these kind of sit-down conversations and dinners with Nazi Schwartz, it's just you know that there's something in Liam Neeson's eyes. His acting's actually fucking amazing in this film. I think he's become a bit of a parody recently, just because obviously Taken, which ironically
because he'll find you and kill you with his unique set of skills.
I have a very particular set of skills, and one of them is helping Jews. So fuck off.
Absolutely.
There's moments you just see in his eyes when he's sitting with Colonel Schwartz that you can see in his eyes that he knows that what's going on is horrific, but he has to keep on the persona of the perfect Nazi, and you can see that in our conflict. When it comes to Ray Fiennes, Colonel Schwartz, there is no inner conflict with this guy. This guy is just a fucking psychopath. There's no other way to describe him. He enjoys killing. There's a few memorable scenes, which is a section we're going to probably have in a short while. But the scene where he gets the guy to make him the hinge. He's like, "Make me a hinge." And the guy hammers a hinge together in like 60 seconds. He's like, "Yes, you are clearly very skilled. But you have been working since 6 o'clock this morning, yet you have so few hinges." And the guy's face, the expression on this guy's face, he just goes, "Oh shit, I'm dead." And then, sure enough, he takes him outside, tries to shoot him with 2 guns that both jam. And
lucky day for him.
And then, that scene was so tense, man. I've seen it before, but even watching it for a second time, it just makes your blood curdle. Like, to think how many people actually did go through that kind of thing, and the acting in it, even going past the main characters, the acting in it, even from bit parts and very short-lived parts, pardon the pun, literally short-lived. The acting is phenomenal. I mean, you get people that have got 2 and 3 lines, and then they get shot in the face and they're dead. But even the way they die is. It's like they've went to dying school for this film. They literally, you just see the life disappearing from their bodies. It's like that little squib goes off in their head to say, right, that's your shot, and then it's just like they just completely relax their bodies and flop to the ground and land whatever way they might. There's no dramaticism to the way they fall over.
It did seem awfully organic, and Steven Spielberg actually, the scene where the girls all go into the showers and they think, oh, this is it, and they all go in and they scream and they're terrified. He said there was no acting that day. The girls didn't know what to expect, and everything that was there was genuine. And because of the tone, because on set, Steven Spielberg actually said that no one was laughing or joking on that set. It was the quietest set he's ever worked on, because they respected the history behind what they were making. So everybody was so respectful, and the set was always just very quiet. So with that kind of tone and feeling, there was something in the air. So when those women went in there to do that scene in the showers, everything there was like, well, the lights all went out. It was very natural, because you're in a place that reminds you of an event that wasn't great for anybody, and then when it's theatric with the lights going out, and then you're hearing girls screaming behind you and near you, that it was very natural. So he said not one person acted that day in that shower scene because of that. So I totally agree with you, and I believe that's basically because everybody in that movie knew what they were doing and respected what they were doing, and that's probably why even such little scenes like that were so big. And on that note as well about the acting, how good was Ben Kingsley?
Mate, that guy, he's been the same age since 1981 as well. He just never looks any different. But yeah, he totally stands out. And what the bit that sticks in my mind for him is, remember he ends up on the train to the concentration camp, and he goes to rescue him, which I'm going to talk about again in a second. But it's after that where the Jewish people, they're all getting called out again, and he goes outside and he starts looking in his pockets for his work papers, and he can't find them, and you're like, fuck, has he forgot them again? No fucking way. And you're just like, oh no, and then he finds them, you're like, oh yes, Jesus Christ. It's you feel his relief in finding those papers.
Agreed.
It's the guy, I mean, he really is phenomenal. Going back to the scene when he's on the train, and Schindler's running along just shouting his name, Stern! Isaac Stern! And then like, what are you doing here, sir? This is my generic Nazi voice now. And he's like, Isaac Stern, he works for me, he's in my factory, blah blah blah. And like, he cannot get off the train because we are wankers, whatever. And then he's like, what is your name? And the guy gives him his name. He's like, okay, I'm sure you will both be in southern Russia by the end of the month. Good day. And he walks.
And they're all like, Stern!
And then you just see them both come into shot like, Stern, Isaac Stern. It was the one bit of comic relief in the whole film. It was really funny. That bit was actually funny. And it almost felt like I felt guilty for laughing, but you're like, no, that was completely deliberate. That was supposed to be funny, and it worked. It was perfectly funny, and it was perfectly placed.
I found that Ben Kingsley, he was the moral of that movie. He was continuously offered drinks, and no matter what was going on around him, most people would want to turn to a drink, but he still stared the drink down. When he knew he was doing things that weren't right, even in a time of war, before he really felt the oppression, the look he would give Liam Neeson's character said it all. He was, and he also he added a sense of soft to that movie. Like, he was the guy that gave you you gave sympathy to him just in because of how he was placed, where he was, what was asked of him, and how he handled it all the way through the movie. Yeah. He didn't kick, scream. He just kept his head down and tried to do what he had to do, but keep true to himself, and he done that perfectly.
It's one thing that's demonstrated throughout the film is that if you don't keep your head down, you're going to get it shot, because anybody that stands out,
Schwartz.
Anybody that stands out in the film, Schwartz is going to get them.
From his balcony with his sniper rifle.
I know. The bit with the kid with the bath getting scrubbed, that was fucking horrific.
Oh, I knew it. See, I knew it. I knew the minute he walked away, and he thought to himself, this power thing isn't working for me, letting everybody live. And then it showed you him coming down the stairs, and then it goes back to Schwartz in the bathroom. I thought, nah, he's getting his heat blown off. Knew it.
I think you almost had that. Oh, does he have a conscience? Is he starting to see the error of his ways? And then within 4 seconds, it's like, no, he's fucking dickhead. And
At least he could take constructive criticism. At least he gave it a shot. Pardon the pun.
it's the way he said it as well. He's like, okay, you can go. I pardon you. I pardon you. And then the gunshots start. And then you think, is he just firing warning shots? And then it does the cut away to Ben Kingsley, and then it shows you the boy in the background. Fucking, as we say, pan breed.
Pan breed.
Pan breed. So, again, another kind of similar bit was with the engineer who was saying that the foundations weren't right. It was the woman, the Jewish woman, who they were building something, and she basically came over and said, "Listen, we need to rebuild. The foundations are fucked. We really need to sort this out." And he's like, "Who are you?" And she explains who she is, what her qualifications are, and then he just goes, "Okay, shoot her." What? It's like, shoot her in the face. It's fine. Shoot her in the face. And then the killer, she flops down brilliantly. Again, the people acting dead in this film is fucking phenomenal. And then he just goes, "Okay, do what she said." It's like, fucking hell. He knew she was right, and he still shot her just because she gave her opinion. And
Jews don't have opinion.
yeah, it's like I go back to saying it's probably listed as a, if you go to IMDb and check Schindler's List, it'll probably say it's history, war, drama, probably. But I would say it's a horror film. It's fucking horrific.
It's your biography, drama, history.
That was close.
Yeah, you're right. It is a horror film because that's a real horror film. That's one you can get scared. And why? Because it happened. It can always happen again. The real monsters walk among us. We see them. We vote for them. So that's a real horror movie. That was people's lives. People had to go through that. And when you saw the kids in the camp, and they were hiding in the shelter.
Aye. Yeah.
It shows you the lengths that they went to avoid being rounded up by Nazis.
I could taste shit in my mouth at that bit. It's fucking horrible. It's because I was eating a shit at the time, but anyway.
I think we needed to see that movie had. We need to obviously be reminded of the most horrible things that happen in life, because those that refuse to study history are doomed to repeat it. And it seems we're doing a really good job of fucking repeating it, eh?
Nah, man. I really don't think we are. I think the people that are pretending to be against the Nazis are the ones that are behaving most like them. So fuck them.
Yeah, that's true. So Jordan, if you were to speak to someone like myself, because the whole purpose of this show is that you and I take a movie that we have not seen but should have, and then we option it to the Jibber Jabber community. Make sure you check it out on Facebook. And then you guys select the movie, we watch it, and then we do a deep dive on it. If you were to speak to anybody that hasn't seen Schindler's List, because that's not me anymore, how would you describe the movie to them in order to make them give it a chance and go and see it?
I would say don't take the kids. I would say it's not a film you should see. It's a film you have to see. What else could I say about it? I think that, like I was saying earlier on, it's getting to the point where it's going to be a forgotten war, and the history that we have on it. I think the history that we get taught on it in school already is pretty inaccurate, and I think it's just going to get worse and worse from here on in. So that film came out 25 years ago, and it feels like it could have been made yesterday. It's
raw.
Yeah. You're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to come out laughing and smiling and wishing that you were there, because the whole point in the film is to make you feel lucky that you live in the time that you live. So I would recommend it, but I didn't enjoy it.
You know, I have to agree with you on that, Jordan. It is. I mean, usually we celebrate movies on this or trash them. Either way, movies is the heart of what this podcast and what we are all about. But this definitely, it's one of those ones that will sit in a box that won't have very many other titles next to it. It's a movie that you can say, the movie's made well, it's iconic, and everybody worked hard on it, and the performances on it are worth the positivity. But what the movie's about and what it reminds you that this actually happened, and that the things you're going to see in it, they're not great. So it is a grey area kind of movie.
I remember when it was in the cinema. Obviously, I was too young to see it. It was 1993, so what was it, February '93? So I would have been 6, 7. I was 8 when that came out, so I wasn't able to go and see it at the cinema. But I do remember when it was out in the cinema. I was on a small family holiday. We weren't abroad. We were in Scotland. I think we were in St Andrews. We were staying in a chalet or something in St Andrews. It was my family and my aunt and uncle and their kids. And my aunt and uncle and their kids went to see. They were a bit older, and they came back, and we said, "So, how was the film? Did you enjoy it?" And I swear to God, both of them just looked at each other and started crying.
Wow, powerful.
I don't know, they might not remember this, but I remember it. And my uncle started explaining, it was the scene where they were raiding the ghetto. He started explaining that, and then he started talking about the Schindler kind of rubbing the ash off of the car. And it was obviously human ashes that were getting spouted out for the chimneys, and that that was when I was 8, and that memory is still in my mind from a film that I'd never seen. I never seen it until I was about 26, and I think I've seen it once after that, and then once for this. So it's not one you watch over and over again because you want to crack open the popcorn and have a good night. It's one that you watch when you think you're a bit too happy in your life and you need to be brought down a peg or two. So,
or if you really want to, you want to see. I mean, because at the end of the day, a lot of these people gave their stories to Steven Spielberg and his crew. So again, a lot of it is real accounts and stories that happened and that they seen happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you really are into your history, it's a must. By the way, when that came out and you were 8, I was 2.
You were 2.
I was 2.
Yeah. Well, it still wouldn't disqualify you from the Nazi kill list.
I suppose. So moving to our journal now. This is how we will wrap up our shows when we do deep dives. There's three questions that we'll ask each other, or 3 questions that we'll both we're going to answer. The first one will be the memorable scene. Second is the memorable quote, and then a rating out of 5 stars. Obviously, 1 star means it's pish. It's as pan breed as the wee toasty lassie in the wheelbarrow, and 5 means it was amazing. Anywhere between there, you can kind of take that as you will. So Jordan, your most memorable scene of Schindler's List?
For me, it was the very end of the movie, when the actors who played, the young actors who played the children in the film, walked to Oskar Schindler's grave with the real person and put stones on his grave, just like a tribute. I'm fucking crying, man.
Oh, we got it first. He farts, he burps, and now he's crying like a bitch.
Yeah, so
damn.
So that was my memorable scene.
Check you out.
thought I'd managed it, but I didn't.
Outstanding. Outstanding. I'm heartless as fuck, so you'll not get me greeting on the show, man. No,
Yeah. Well done. There we go.
No, well, look at that. Eh? I mean, that just tells you how powerful that movie is. So if you're listening to us right now and you've not seen the movie, Jordan's greeting about it, right? You need to watch it.
So what was yours, Kevin?
Like I says previously, it was the little girl. I found it very eerie, and I found it really stuck out to me, and it will be forever what I picture when I think of Schindler's List, is that little girl walking through the streets, and just how blind we can all be to shit that goes on elsewhere, and how sometimes we really need to take action before it gets as bad as what that got. And for me, that has just so much meaning in that scene. So for me, that's the scene. That's the scene that really gets me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So your most memorable quote, I can maybe start this, was towards the end where Schindler says to Stern, he says, "Stern, if this factory ever produces a shell that can actually be fired, I'll be very unhappy."
Yeah, so he doesn't want to contribute to the war effort, basically.
Absolutely. I mean, you need to really watch the movie to understand that and why I like it so much. And that for you guys listening, I'll let you guys interpret that when you watch the movie. But for me, that stood out. Between that and there was another one where he said that, you know, what really prospers, when I came here, I had nothing, and I have the best thing now that makes my business prosper: war, like a proper politician.
Yeah.
I suppose Nazi.
Yeah.
And what was your memorable quote?
Mine is just one word, and it's the word more.
War.
More. You'll understand when you watch it.
Absolutely. My rating system for this, out of 5 stars, I gave 5. An absolute 5 out of 5 stars. And the reason being is it takes you on a roller coaster ride, which is really just it's a deep dive like this show. And at the end, there's that glimmer of hope where the track starts to change its direction. It starts to escalate higher. But between that, the performances of all the actors, its importance in cinematic history, not only that, but for people to remember history, and the fact that so much attention to detail and respect was put into the movie when being made, I can't give it anything less than 5 stars. Yourself, Jordan?
I would give it 6.
6.
Yeah. For a few reasons, obviously, like you said, the acting was phenomenal. The cinematography was great. The choice to do it in black and white was very brave. Also, it was a brave move for Steven Spielberg, he's pretty much known for making big summer blockbusters and family films, films you can watch with some, popcorn and a big drink. But this one you need to watch with kind of hankies and a sense of kind of I don't even know how to describe it. Just I can't describe it. There's no way of describing this film properly. I think you have to see it, and you have to try and come up with your own description for how it makes you feel.
Absolutely.
Unless you hate Jews. If you hate Jews, you'll fucking love it. But hopefully nobody that hates Jews that much is listening to this podcast. If you are, go suck a big fat fucking cock. Go suck a big fat pig's willy.
Jewish cock. A Jewish cock. You fucker. But yeah. And you know, what an episode to start the deep dive on, by the way. Very powerful one. You don't think? What a movie to start the deep dive on.
Yeah, I actually have a suggestion about the deep dive. That I'm going to say it here because I think it's probably a good place to say it, or it could be the worst place to say it. You never know. My thinking is my thinking on it is, what we do is we take, there's probably a list out there of, say, 100 films you have to see before you die. Now, there's a good chance we've seen a lot of them, but there will be a lot we haven't seen, and I think we should start picking from that list. Instead of just going, have you seen this? No. Oh, right. Have you seen that? Aye. Look at this list. We'll go through it individually. We'll tick off the ones we've seen, the ones we haven't. We'll both do a deep dive because we'll both never have seen it. And I think that is going to be the way forward from here. I could be wrong. Kevin might discuss it with me after we've shut off and just tell me to go shove my penis up my own arse.
No, not Jordan. It's a great idea, and I actually was thinking of something similar along that line anyway. And I really enjoy doing this deep dive as well. So I really it gives us a chance to watch things we probably wouldn't watch and talk about it. And no one says the deep dive is always going to be positive, or that Jordan and I are going to come on here and tell you the movie's the greatest thing ever. Because I watched The Nun recently, and you'll have to listen to next week's Jibber Jabber to hear me bitch the shit out of that. But,
so Kevin's going to bitch the shit out of a nun. Well done.
Yeah, boy. If that doesn't get you tuning into the weekly, or
this week it was the Jews.
Jibber Jabber.
Next week it's the Catholics.
Oh, that's totally not how it is. Please don't come after us. So this concludes our very first deep dive, and I've got to say I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You guys at home can watch Schindler's List on Netflix. Definitely check it out there.
It's also on
Netflix. Of course you do.
It is also on Sky as well. You can get it. You can get it on Sky Cinema in HD.
Damn it, son. So you guys go ahead and watch that, and please, in the comment section, or create your own post on the Jibber Jabber Facebook page, or tweet us, whichever way you want to on social media. Let us know what watching Schindler's List was like for you. Yeah. Let us know things you took away from it, because we're just as interested in speaking to you guys and hearing what you guys thought of these kind of movies, so we can bounce back on. And who knows, if somebody even really wants to get involved, I wouldn't be opposed to you guys coming on and chatting with us about on the show, because coming soon you'll see that we'll be having, not every week, but we'll be having guests very, very shortly. So with that in mind, make sure you definitely check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. The links they're everywhere. Jibber Jabber Podcast. Google us, YouTube, Facebook. We're there. We're everywhere. You're there, so it makes sense for us to hang out. Jordan, is there anything you'd like to say in concluding?
Yes. Any jokes that I or Kevin might have made during this podcast that may have seemed to be in bad taste were simply to cope with the emotional stress that this film put on us. So don't hold it against us. We don't really feel that way. When I described a dead little girl as a toasty, I didn't mean it. So, I'm going to start off by apologising.
Absolutely.
Which I don't normally do, but it really is one of those films that is hard to deal with, and
that is so true.
And hopefully next week we can pick a film that is a bit less fucking heavy.
Yes, and
I don't want to sway your votes. In any way. But if there's a choice between a heavy film or a film that makes you want to go home and have sex, pick the one that makes you want to go home and have sex.
Damn, son. Absolutely. So I've been Kevin Wells. J-Mac has been Jan Dorian, last of all known Mankind Explorians. And on that note, thanks for listening to our first deep dive. We're only 40 minutes in, so it's easy listening for you guys. And we will see you on the next deep dive. We'll see you on the Jibber Jabber. Make sure you check out our YouTube to go ahead and go and watch our watch this movie reviews, or don't watch this movie reviews. I'm definitely doing that on The Nun. And we guys will catch you guys soon.
Only here can you hear the expression, don't do that on The Nun. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.